This is a sheet of US dollar bills before it gets cut, still moving through the machines at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing as one large sheet. At this stage, the money has not reached anyone's wallet yet. It is still a wide sheet filled with portraits, numbers, ink, tiny fibers, and security features that all have to pass inspection before it can be sent to the Federal Reserve. The process begins with a material that is not ordinary paper. People call it paper money, but US currency is made from a special cotton and linen blend. That is why a dollar bill feels tougher than office paper when you fold it or pass it through hundreds of hands. This blank currency material is made for the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, then delivered to Washington, D.C. or Fort Worth. Before ink ever touches it, the material already carries security features. Red and blue fibers are built into the material from the start. Up close, they look like tiny colored pieces scattered between the fabric strands. On larger denominations, the material also has a watermark, a faint image that appears when held up to light. The security thread is also inside the money, not simply printed on top. Inside the money factory, blank sheets cannot move around freely. Every sheet that enters the machine has to match production records. If a sheet is damaged, its path still has to be known. Currency material is sensitive even before it becomes official money. If it leaves the official process, someone could use it for convincing counterfeits. A bill's design has to be recognized quickly. A person getting change is not going to inspect a bill for long. It has to look familiar almost instantly. It also cannot be easy to copy. That is why portraits on US currency are built from tight, detailed lines. When printed correctly, those lines stay sharp. When copied with ordinary equipment, fine details often blur. A new design also cannot change just because the old one looks dated. Cash machines still have to recognize it, and people still have to trust it. If the color or layout changes too much, someone may hesitate at the register. So, currency design changes slowly. The goal is not to look modern, the goal is to stay useful and harder to counterfeit. In the engraving room, the design becomes a working plate. Engravers create tiny details on a metal surface. Ink has to sit inside small engraved grooves before it is pressed onto the currency material. From that plate, portraits, numbers, and tiny lettering repeat across future sheets. If the source plate has a problem, that problem can repeat through production. The sheet then moves to offset printing. This is where background colors land on the currency material. The ink first transfers to a rubber blanket, then the blanket transfers it onto the sheet. This helps color look smooth. The machine moves fast, but position still has to be exact. Even a small shift can cause a sheet to fail inspection later. From there, the sheet moves to intaglio printing. The name sounds technical, but the result is familiar. Intaglio printing makes certain parts of the bill feel slightly raised. Ink fills engraved grooves on a metal plate. The surface is wiped clean, then the plate is pressed hard against the currency material. When the pressure releases, ink from the grooves has transferred onto the bill. That raised texture is not decoration. A regular printer can imitate color, but it has a hard time copying that raised feel. The portrait also looks sharper because the ink comes from engraved cuts, not a flat print. Most people do not know the process name, but they have felt it. When your finger moves across a real bill, there's a distinct texture, smooth in some places and slightly rough in others. Freshly pressed ink needs time. The sheet cannot immediately move forward as if everything is done. The surface has to stabilize. If it moves too soon, the print can smear or lose quality. In a money factory, waiting is not an empty pause. It is part of the process. Machines can move fast, but ink still has physical limits. On the modern $100 bill, there is a blue feature called the 3D security ribbon. This ribbon is woven into the bill, not pasted on after the money is finished. When the bill is tilted, small images inside the ribbon appear to move. Near it, a small bell also changes as the viewing angle changes. The check is quick because cash has to be verified during normal transactions, not only under lab conditions. Microprinting works in a quieter way. Tiny text is placed where most people rarely notice. On the $100 bill, some of it appears around Benjamin Franklin's portrait. On a real bill, the letters stay clear under magnification. On a poor counterfeit, they often turn into a blurry line. Small details like this matter when a bill needs a closer look. After the main printing steps, the sheet still has no identity. A letterpress machine adds serial numbers to each note. No two bills should have the same serial number. Those numbers help with tracking and examination. Seals are also added at this stage. If placement is too far off, the sheet can be rejected before it leaves the factory. The sheet then moves into inspection. High-speed cameras read both sides. Software looks for anything abnormal. Shifted ink can be flagged. Missing detail can stop a sheet from moving forward. Workers review the results, then the factory decides which parts can still be used. People on the inspection line are trained to notice tiny differences. Heavy color, uneven texture, or a surface that is not clean enough after printing can hold a sheet back. To most people, those differences seem small. In a money factory, they can become major problems if repeated across many sheets. Human inspection still matters because cameras read patterns, while trained eyes can catch something that simply feels wrong. A bill leaving the factory will not live in a clean environment. It will be folded, squeezed, passed across counters, handled by cashiers, and sent back to banks. So the print has to be strong from the beginning and ready for real life without special treatment. If one area of a sheet has a problem, the good parts may still be saved according to procedure. The failed parts are destroyed. Defective notes cannot enter public circulation. People accept money because it feels consistent. If too many strange-looking bills appear, that trust can weaken. Almost right is still not good enough. The sheets that pass inspection move to cutting machines. Now the large sheet starts becoming the bills people recognize. Blades cut it into standard-sized notes. That size has to be precise because bills go into bank machines, cash drawers, wallets, and ATMs every day. After cutting, notes are stacked into straps of 100 and moved into secure packaging. New money is not printed just because the factory feels like printing. The Federal Reserve looks at cash demand from banks, then orders notes based on circulation. If many old bills are worn out, orders can rise. If returning cash is still usable, the need for new printing can fall. Production follows the cash actually moving through the economy. In factory footage, the motion can look repetitive. Sheets pass under machines, then stop for checks. That rhythm keeps production controlled. Workers chase the same result all shift. If one machine shows a different pattern, the issue has to be caught before too many sheets are affected. By the time a note enters the banking system, it feels ordinary. The sound of the printing machines is gone, but the factory work is still carried in every bill. ATMs have to read it without trouble. Tellers have to accept it without hesitation. In a store, a properly made bill should not draw attention. It works because it feels normal. Packaged currency first goes to Federal Reserve banks. There, cash is stored until banks need fresh supply. When demand comes in, notes leave the vaults and move into ATMs, cash rooms, and circulation. People withdraw it, spend it, and some of it returns through daily deposits. At places like the Federal Reserve, money is treated as a flow that has to stay healthy. Cash coming back from banks is not simply placed back on a shelf. Machines check whether each note is good enough to use again. If it is fit, it returns to circulation. If it is too worn, it leaves the system and is replaced. That is one reason the government still prints money even as digital payments grow. Old cash wears out, and the system still needs clean replacements. Every note also has to match habits people have built over a long time. People have a sense of what real money should feel like. They know its color and texture at a register. The factory cannot change that experience too much. A new bill has to feel familiar, even when it carries better security features. If the change feels too strong, people may stop and hesitate. Counterfeit money does not always look terrible. Some fake bills are made well enough that checking cannot rely on one feature. A person can start with the feel of the material, then hold the bill up to light. After that, the bill can be tilted to look for color changes and motion in the security features. The steps are simple, but they help separate real money from something that only looks close. When cash comes back to a bank, sorting machines check its condition. Notes that are still good can go back out. Notes that are too worn are pulled from circulation. A faded bill is less comfortable to use. A bill with damaged edges is more likely to be rejected by machines. Those notes are destroyed and replaced. A lot of new money is printed simply to replace bills that have reached the end of their useful life. Sometimes money arrives in a condition that barely looks like money anymore. For cases like that, the Bureau of Engraving and Printing has a mutilated currency process. Specialists examine what is left and decide whether it can still be identified as genuine US currency. If there is enough evidence, the owner may receive a replacement. The value of money can still be recognized even when its physical form is badly damaged. Coins are born in a different place. Paper currency is printed by the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. Coins are made by the United States Mint. At the Mint, the starting material is a long coil of metal. It enters a blanking press, which punches the metal into small discs called blanks. The leftover metal is collected so it can be reused. A metal blank is not ready to become a coin yet. The metal has to be softened so the design can appear cleanly. The blanks enter an annealing furnace, an industrial oven that heats them to a high temperature. Then the surfaces are washed and dried. If the metal is too hard, the die will not leave a clean image. If the surface is dirty, the finished coin can look poor. On the coin production line, plain metal enters the process and a small object with value comes out. Clean blanks move into an upsetting mill. This machine forms the raised rim around the coin's edge. That rim protects the center design as the coin gets used. After the rim is formed, the blank is called a planchet. The planchet moves into a coin press. Dies press the metal from both sides. In one strong strike, a plain disc becomes a coin with an image and value. For everyday coins, the press works fast, and the result has to survive daily life without special treatment. Circulating coins have a rough life. A coin can fall on the floor or pass through vending machines and coin slots many times. Its design has to last because coins often circulate for years. Collector coins are treated more carefully because buyers inspect the details up close. The die is the hard tool that carries the coin design. When it strikes the planchet, the image transfers into the metal as raised relief. A die is used again and again until the details begin to weaken. If coins start coming out less sharp, the die has to be inspected. Coins that pass inspection move to the final stage before shipping. Coins do not have security layers as complex as paper money, but their physical shape still has to stay consistent. A coin has to be easy for machines to recognize, and it has to survive daily wear. If one detail changes too much, the problem may not appear at the factory, it may appear later when people try to use it. A simple-looking coin is really asking an old system of machines and habits to recognize it correctly. The penny shows the cost problem most clearly. Its face value is only 1 cent, while making it can cost more than that. Circulating penny production has been suspended because the economics no longer make sense. Pennies already in circulation remain legal tender and can still be used, so the penny does not disappear overnight. The penny problem is simple. A country does not need to keep making an object that costs more to produce than the value printed on the object. At that point, the issue is no longer how to make it, it is whether it still makes sense to keep making it. Changing a small coin is not as easy as replacing the image on its face. A coin still has to work with machines already used in many places. If its size or weight changes too much, coin acceptors can have problems. That is why small coins carry old habits with them, tied to tiny transactions that happen every day. The US Mint also makes coins for collectors. That process moves more slowly. The metal surface is kept more clean and the strike is sharper. These coins are not meant to move quickly through cash registers. Buyers treat them as collectible objects. Everyday coins live differently. Once they leave the mint, they have to be ready for use without much attention. From the factory alone, paper money and coins already have different lives. Bills are born from special material moving through high-pressure printing and inspection. Coins are born from metal that is heated, cleaned, and struck until the design appears. By the time money reaches a person's hand, all of that work disappears from view. Money simply feels like money, a small object passing through daily transactions without much thought. People just use it because the complicated part was finished long before it ever reached them.